You know, I used to think that the flat earthers were stupid. And then I thought, maybe maybe it's code for something. Maybe they found a whole new philosophy, a whole new school of thought, and it was as incredible, as ground shattering as the realization that the earth was round. And that's why they were called the Flat Earth Society, because they were bringing all the people who knew the earth was flat into their circle of knowledge. And I spoke to these people, and they said, no, we really believe the earth is flat. And I thought, I thought they were all stupid, but they're not. Some of them really have some interesting ideas. It's disturbing, actually, and I get it. I get why they think so. I mean, if you lived in Nebraska or somewhere far away from the ocean, if you didn't get to travel at all, and you caught your school lying to you and your news lying to you like I would have my doubts too. I mean, I remember when General Sanchez was getting interviewed years ago about Uday and Hussein, who had like one clip of ammunition, and they were in a house and they were surrounded, and they could just cut off the water and wait for them to surrender, or drop in some gas and just go get them. And the general gave his reasons why they killed them instead. And then he said to the reporters, okay, I'd like to take the next lie. And nobody said anything. They just kept going like that didn't even happen. And then this last election, Trump got pissed at one of the networks because they spliced two clips together to make it appear that he said something totally the opposite of what he said. And I went back and I played the original clip uninterrupted without changing camera angles, and it was true. They went and they just did this thing. Okay, and in school, I came home one day and my grandfather was visiting, and what'd you learn in school? And how the German U-boats in World War II, you could pierce the hull with a .22 caliber rifle, or you could just ram them and you'd cut them right in half. And you should have seen the look my grandfather gave me. It's a .22 caliber rifle. If a ship goes underwater and withstands that much pressure, a .22 caliber rifle is not going to make a dent. And if you tried to ram one of them, you'd damage your ship severely. So, I mean, all these people that say, well, it was known, it was discovered that the earth was round because of these observations. This one guy, this one flat earther, I said, well, what about when a ship goes over the horizon? The hull disappears, but you can still see the mast. What other reason could there be for that? And he went and said, well, you don't observe that. Have you gone? You would observe it because the Earth is 25,000 miles in diameter. I don't know what it is, but that's what he said it was, and it sounds about right. He said every square mile you would see a 1-inch declination, and that's not observed. I'm like, sure you do. And he said, have you gone to the docks with a telescope and watched a ship sail away? And I had to admit that no, I hadn't. But what I have done is I have called my uncle in California when I was in New York, and the sun's just coming up, and oh really? Yeah, it's up already here. And I've called my father in New York when I was in Bangkok, and it was midnight in Bangkok, and it was noon in New York. So if there was a flat Earth, wouldn't the sun, wouldn't it be dark everywhere? Unless, of course, there's people living on the other side of the coin. But then, I mean, there's people all over the world. You can track where the sun is in the sky. It's just, I don't understand it. I mean, there's that. And then the National Geographic. My mother collects National Geographics. She's got decades worth. There is no National Geographic issue that's called End of the Earth, Edge of the Earth, or Other Side of the Earth, and there's all these people with private boats and private aircraft and cameras and internet, and there's never been any footage. And then the biggest reason of all is just, why would you bother perpetrating such a lie? I mean, unless you go boating or you fly a plane or you work for the space program, it really wouldn't affect your life very much. Why would you even bother? And this guy's like, well, it's to take people away from faith in the Bible. It's so the devil can get a foothold. And I said, well, wait a minute. The Bible has references both to flat earth and round earth. I forget where the round earth passage is. I think it was in Philippians. It was something with a P. I don't remember what it was, but I'd have to look it up again. But there was a reference to the earth being round. And I just don't understand. I mean, I kind of get it. Because a lot of these things that these people are saying, you know, a lot of the logic that they gave is based on observations that no one has actually gone out and made in modern times. People don't go and watch the ships sail away for hours and hours. They just don't do it. Nobody's made those observations. You know, not the vast majority of us anyway. So, I mean, the logic that I was taught that the earth was round depends on observations that I haven't made, but I've been lucky enough to travel. I've gone to Spain, and I've gone across country, and I've gone to California, and I've gone to Korea and Thailand and Japan, and I've called people, and, you know, one of the things we remarked was, you know, where the sun was, what time it was, and where the sun was. Why would you bother? I feel bad for these people. Because it's so obvious, and they're like, well, you know, oh, well, we'll just, you know, we can, you know, here's the logic, but they don't have the observations. And I don't get that.